Complex Con香港 Art Central 同埋2025巴塞爾藝術展。
Life will be held in Hong Kong. These are mega cultural events that will bring 400,000 people to them. And at the end of March, the rugby sevens will be moved to the high-tech sports park for the first time. In the past, the number of spectators could reach 40,000, but at the high-tech sports park, the 50,000 spectators could be housed. And the rugby sevens will certainly bring business to the retail and dining facilities nearby. Apart from the series of arts and cultural events and sports events, there will be a large number of major exhibitions, International Jewelry Expo, Film Expo, and then high-end conferences. For example, a conference hosted by the Economist on high technology, so that will bring about 120,000 high-end MICE visitors to Hong Kong. So the mega events will bring about 840,000 visitors to Hong Kong, bringing us some $3.3 billion of economic benefits, as well as $1.8 billion of increase in economic value. And then on the 1st of March, the CEPA amendment to CEPA on trade in services will commence. The second agreement was signed on the 9th of October last year. So professionals will see lower thresholds for entering the mainland market. And then there are a number of areas where we have an edge, for example, financial services, construction and building works, testing and certification, telecommunications, films, TV, tourism, and so on. There are liberalization measures. For example, the surveying companies may file a record, and then they could provide professional services in Guangdong. And then the restriction of Hong Kong investors investing in film production will be lifted. And then there are other lifting of restrictions, say, on the investment amount and so on. So for service providers, the requirement of having operated in Hong Kong for 3 years will also be lifted. And then there will be Hong Kong law for Hong Kong enterprises in entering contracts or in seeking arbitration. So qualified Hong Kong investors could choose, therefore, Hong Kong as the seat of arbitration. And then tomorrow, there will be a CEPA business forum held together with the Ministry of Commerce. The Ministry of Commerce, and various other ministries will send representatives to Hong Kong. And together with the Hong Kong SL government, they will be explaining in detail the liberalization measures and the implementation details under different topics to Hong Kong businesses. I would like to thank the central authorities again for their care and concern for Hong Kong. And I thank all the relevant ministries and units from the mainland for coming to Hong Kong to explain the measures. I thank the Hong Kong Macau Affairs Office too for their staunch support. CEPA was implemented since 2003. It brought about immense economic benefits to Hong Kong. And goods of Hong Kong origin could enjoy zero duty for entering the mainland market. And then the mainland Hong Kong more or less achieved free trade. Under CEPA, the amount of of goods has reached 10.2 billion renminbi. That's 3 times more than that before CEPA was implemented. On average, there's a yearly growth of 5.6%. Mainland, and then there are now 153 mainland units that have liberalized the access to Hong Kong. Many sectors have benefited from CEPA and expanded their business to the mainland. For example, solely owned hospitals and clinics, architecture firms, insurance companies, insurance agencies, and so on. On people's livelihood issues, there's good news again that the waiting time for public housing has shortened. At the end of last year, the average waiting time dropped to 5.2 years, a decrease of 0.2 year. That's the lowest figure in 6 years. So this figure is a testimony to my expectation as I assumed office that we're going to shorten the queuing time. The Housing Bill will be announcing the details later. Before this government took office in 2022, the longest waiting time was 6.1 years. Now the latest waiting time has reduced by 6.8 years and dropped to 5.3 years. So that means the housing condition of people could be improved earlier, and that also means much savings in rent. Now, for a subdivided unit household, shortening of 9.5 months of waiting time means savings in rent of $30,000. Now, in my assumed office, I set a specific target that we will lower the waiting time to less than 6 years, and then we have also introduced 30,000 light public housing units. They are being completed, and people are starting to move in. The first project was in Yao Park Road, Yuen Long, and Ao Tau Kok Choi Hing Road, 4,400 units. These people will move into these units soon. And then in Kai Tak and Tim Wun, there are 2 projects that are converted from schools. There are a total of 5,000 units. Applications will be received starting from next week, so people can move it by the 4th quarter of this year. I have confidence that we're able to shorten the waiting time for public housing to 4.65 years. That means shortening it by 1.5 years in total. Under one country, 2 systems, Hong Kong can enjoy both advantages coming from mainland as well as an international city. In the coming months, we will be seeing both challenges and opportunities, but there are more opportunities than challenges. And there's already consensus among the community that we must seek and embrace changes. So as long as we work together and we are bold enough to make reforms, then we could seize upon the challenges presented by the country and join the development of the country. Thank you.
We'll now open the floor for questions. Please limit yourselves to no more than 2 questions and identify the organizations you represent before you speak. The gentleman over there. Good afternoon, I'm from Hong Kong 01. I would like to ask about Mr. Sha Baolong's visit. He said Hong Kong government officials have to be bold. How do you understand this? Does that mean government officials have been working too slowly? If government officials cannot meet the target, will you dismiss them? And how come some principal government officials were not present when Mr. Shah was there? Also, some taxi drivers said they will launch a strike. Is it because the government has been failing to combat the unlicensed ride-hailing services? Also, Gouda app has been running in Hong Kong. Will the government issue licenses to these ride-hailing services apps? First of all, I thank Mr. Sha Baolong for coming to Hong Kong's Hetao area on the 9th. He inspected the Innovation and Technology Zone in the Hetao area. He also inspected the same park in the mainland. The following day after I came back from Harbin, I chaired a meeting to summarize Mr. Xia's visit, as well as the different development projects he inspected. I also gave a summary on the briefing session as well as the guidance Mr. Xia provided. I spoke openly that the SAR government will have to make further breakthroughs and reforms. We have to bear in mind the pressing need. Since I took office, I have rolled out various reforms. For some items, we built from scratch. For example, the Hong Kong Investment Corporations was established from scratch. The reforms were to address all the loopholes and shortcomings. For example, there were reforms in terms of the culture as well as the speed of the government in implementing its work. However, I think there is always room for us to strive for improvement and excellence. We have to keep rolling out reforms. Some of them are in larger scale. For the other reforms, we have to make use of them to address our shortcomings in different aspects. We have to bear in mind that we should be bold in making breakthroughs, and we have to have that mindset. And we also have to keep in mind the urgency of things. We are facing great challenges, and we have to keep that in mind. And there's no end date to these reforms. These reforms are ongoing. I thank Mr. Xia Baolong for giving us guidance. Pointing out clearly that we have to integrate into the country's overall development. And we have to be more effective in terms of carrying out our work. So I support the idea that we have to keep launching reforms, and Mr. Xia Baolong has given us guidance in this regard in terms of how we can yield better results in integrating ourselves into the overall development of our country. If there is any undesirable performance, of course, I will make requests to make improvement. Currently, the secretaries under the 15 bureaus, as well as the 3 major secretaries, they all have the consensus to adopt the result-oriented approach. Over the past few years, we have rolled out different reforms as well as new measures. However, we face problems on a daily basis, so we will continue to work hard. Also, the Macau Chief Executive, Mr. Sam Ho-Fai, and I attended the Asian World Games in Harbin. Mr. Xia Baolong has been very busy, but we have had very good communication. all the secretaries and I have been working in our posts to deal with different challenges and problems. So I advocate that all the different secretaries communicate with the relevant stakeholders. I also suggest that our government officials, especially secretaries, explain to Mr. Xia Baolong about their work progresses. So I ask that the government officials, especially the principal secretaries, work independently, and they have to complement each other in terms of their work. So I thank Mr. Xia Baolong again for giving guidance to us in terms of the directions we should take. After I came back from Harbin, I've chaired some meetings. I've asked our government officials to have the reform mindset and bear in mind our priorities and urgencies. I also asked them to work on 5 areas. For example, in terms of the development of the northern metropolis, we have to streamline the relevant procedures so that the first batch of enterprises can move in. For the innovation and technology zone in Hetao, we have to make breakthroughs so that there could be harmonization of rules and regulations between Hong Kong and the mainland. This will facilitate the flow of people as well as capital and data between the two places. The loop will be one of the major and leading initiatives that can help us become an international center. It will be a very important cooperation zone, so we have to make sure success of this project. Also, we have to work on building ourselves into an international finance shipping as well as logistics center. I ask that our major government officials reinforce our status in this regard. We also have to leverage our strengths under the one country, two systems principle. We have to ensure connectivity between the two places to create new growth points as well as opportunities for Hong Kong. We'll keep up with our good work in this regard. In relation to ride-hailing apps, the government's position is clear. Taxi services have to be improved. Ride-hailing services will have to be regulated. Unlicensed white plate or white license cars, they have to be regulated. Any radical acts will not help solve problems. Radical acts will only damage people's livelihood and change the nature of our problem. This will give people the opportunity, especially people with ulterior motives, to hijack this. Different representatives from the taxi trade said they would not join the strike. Any problems should be solved by rational communication and discussions. There should be exchanges between different parties. In this regard, the Transport and Logistics Bureau has already proposed some solutions. This includes introducing the taxi fleet regime to enhance taxi services. It will also regulate ride-hailing service platforms to make sure that there will be point-to-point ride-hailing services for the public. Regulating ride-hailing services is a problem that needs to be solved. This current term government has been proposing solutions to this long-standing issue. Tomorrow, the Transport Advisory Committee will hold a meeting. Representatives from the taxi trade as well as ride-hailing service industry will attend the meeting. government representatives will also attend the meeting. This will be a very good opportunity for all the parties to have a rational discussion. I hope we will all resolve this long-standing problem in a sensible manner and implement the government's proposal in a concerted manner. Thank you.
Good morning. Questions from the South China Morning Post. Firstly, with regards to the taxi strike, the Hong Kong Telecall Taxi Association has earlier threatened that it would organize a 5-day strike if the government does not respond positively to their demands to crack down on ride-hailing. About the strike, how seriously does the government view this threat by the taxi sector, and would this threat sway the government's stance on ride-hailing regulation? Secondly, the Secretary for Labour and Welfare has previously said that the government administration would exchange data between departments to create a database for identifying hidden carers, hidden cases of at-risk carers. Do you think that the government perhaps is a bit too slow in identifying hidden elderly or hidden carers? And also, can the community care teams perhaps do more before the government can set up this database in the meantime? Thank you.
Well, the government position in respect of the improvement of taxi service and also to have a lawful system to govern online hailing platform is clear. Taxi service needs to be improved. The car hailing platform needs to be regulated, and enforcement action need to be taken against unlawful hire car service. Any drastic action is not going to solve problem. Drastic action may also hurt the interests of normal citizens in the course of their daily going about of their lives. It is not going to receive public support. Also, there is a potential that the issue may change its nature, and the issue may be hijacked by some people with ulterior motive that will be not in the interest of society and the citizens, and will not get public support. A large number of representatives from the taxi business have indicated that they will not support drastic action. They will not take part. I think these issues need to be addressed with a goodwill, consciously, rationally, so as to find a solution to take matter forward. The Transport and Logistics Bureau has already made a proposal to address the problem. And the proposal includes introducing taxi fleet so that the management control of taxi service can be enhanced. The proposal also includes having a legal framework to regulate online hailing platform to ensure that citizens will have a lawful regime to ensure there will be proper and lawful service to allow them to use this online hailing platform. Improving taxi service and regulating online hailing platform is a problem that has been accumulated over a long period of time. The government, since our assumption of office, has made a determination to address the problem and make a workable solution. We have made that proposal. Tomorrow, the Transport Advisory Committee will hold a meeting, and it has invited representatives from the taxi trade and also representatives from the online hailing platform. Government representatives will also join the meeting. And it is a good opportunity for everybody to talk through the whole thing rationally with a common will to move forward to find a solution to solve this problem that has been accumulated over a long period of time. And I hope and believe that it will be in everybody's interest that all parties will rationally talk through the problem, give out their opinions, and then work together to push forward the implementation of the government proposal. I think that will be in the interest of all parties, in the interest of societies and citizens. Regarding a very unfortunate and sad incident of carers who, because of lack of support, being left alone at their own home and not receiving assistance, we feel very sad about it. And of course, we must find a solution to address it. The Secretary for Labor and Welfare has already indicated that he is pushing forward a database so that we can collect data of individuals who are in need, who may not readily be known to service providers otherwise. And already a lot of action has taken to approach different departments for such information. The Bureau has already approached the Office of the Data Privacy Commissioner to see how we can push forward this database as soon as possible. My position is clear. The earlier this database can be created, the better. It does not have to be 100% at the first moment, because where there are areas we can more easily get information within the confines of the law, we should do it first. And slowly, we address the difficult cases. And I've already seen strong commitment and goodwill amongst all departments and bodies concerned to find a way to address this solution, to address this problem as soon as possible. The Labor and Social Welfare and Welfare Bureau will work hard on this and have this database created as soon as possible so that we can build it up. We can build it up, add to the database as we collect more information, because I think society have a very common understanding that those who are hidden cases, we should do our best to help them. And of course, all the 18 districts will do their best, include district councillors, as well as care teams, as well as departments and bodies responsible for offering assistance in this area.
好，最後一個題目，有
Last question to the right, the last row, the lady, please. I'm from Now TV. Good morning. Kai Tak Sports Park will open at 6:30 p.m. On the 1st of March, but there is no announcement of live broadcast arrangements yet. So will there be live broadcast? If not, why? Are there any difficulties? And there will be someone from the central authorities to officiate the ceremony. And who are we talking about? Now, the government has over $100 billion in fiscal deficit. There are suggestions that there is need to cut spending. So how much spending has to be cut? And would you consider freezing civil service pay? Will the chief executive and principal officials take the lead in this respect? Thank you.
The Kai Tak Sports Park will be opened on the 1st of March for the cultural sports sector in Hong Kong. It's a huge event, so there will be an opening ceremony. We, of course, hope that all members of the public will be able to watch the event staged in the opening ceremony. I hope or I believe it will be a very happy night that everybody is looking forward to. We have to make sure that members of the public will be able to view the event for free through the TV channels so that we can share the happiness with everyone. The opening ceremony will be staged by the production company. The production company will seek partners to help deal with all the challenges that they are going to face. In this regard, I believe the production company has been working very hard. They are going to find the best solution that they can seek within such a short period of time. I hope all members of the public will be able to view in front of their TVs the opening ceremony that night, including the excellent performances. This is a huge event for the SAR government. I will be present to officiate the opening ceremony. The SAR government officials will also participate in the event. We will make this a happy mega event for Hong Kong. As for the upcoming budget, I know that you are all very curious about what will be announced in the budget. The Financial Secretary has been keeping in close communication with me, and his work has entered the final stage for the budget. The Financial Secretary has listened to different views, and based on these views, has been working very hard to strive for the best proposals. The budget will be announced at the end of this month, and all the proposals will be included in the budget and announced to everyone. That's all for today's press conference. Thank you.